Getting real tired of tourist season. No offense, but you guys are lowering the bar.
Howdy, welcome back to Plain Folk Living. I wanted to do a quick response video to some of the comments that were in my previous Fallout Season 1 criticism video. And I'm only going to go over a few comments here, and I blocked out the names intentionally. And that's not to hide any of these people from shame or anything like that, because if you have a bad opinion, there's nothing wrong with being ashamed of yourself. But that's to not be like unappreciative of all the other people who left comments, because there were a lot of really wonderful comments on that video. People thanking me for recommending like A Boy and His Dog. Wonderful people who recommended things to me for me to check out. People who agreed with the things that I was saying in that video. Some people said that they felt like they weren't alone because they've seen other people commenting on the same kind of topic, criticizing what Bethesda and Amazon are doing with Fallout. But I want to go over just some of the other kind of Bethesda fanboy comments that I got. And I've got them on my laptop here, but I'll put them up on the screen so that you all can see them as I'm reading them. And I'll start off with this gentleman here. It's kind of a longer comment. I think this is the longest one I am going to go over right now. But it says, I was born 10 years before you. I've been a fan of the series since the very first game. I've played and beaten 1, 2, 3 Tactics, New Vegas, and Fallout 4. I don't particularly like Bethesda, and I'm not a big fan of Skyrim. You can have your opinion, but the show is objectively really good and a great representation of what Fallout is all about. Everyone disliked that. Tim Kaine, the creator of Fallout, loves the show. Unambiguously. Doesn't matter. Again, you can have whatever opinion you want, but I don't really understand the need to try and make other people feel like they're dumb, and you have the real opinion when people who are more invested in this franchise than you genuinely like the slop. I must once again reiterate, I don't like Bethesda, and I think they've mishandled big parts of the franchise, but I just don't really get where you're coming from. Have a great day. Well, not trying to insult this gentleman here or make him feel like he's dumb, but he's not invested in the franchise if he enjoys the slop. That it's a contradictory comment. You're not invested in the franchise if you enjoy the slop that's coming out right now. You are very uninvested in the franchise. You were just a tourist, like our friend Dean Domino talks about. You know, the tourism is getting real tiresome. But I've seen this comment a couple times, and it'll come up again in this video. Tim Kaine, the creator of Fallout, loves the show. And? I don't give a shit. I really don't care. If George Lucas came out and said that the Disney Star Wars sequels were the greatest thing he's ever seen, and they surpassed what he made with Star Wars, the Disney sequel trilogy is still absolute and utter trash. If George Lucas enjoyed it, it doesn't change that it's trash. It just means that he has a trash opinion. And he's allowed to have a trash opinion and eat up slop like a little piggy. I don't think George Lucas actually believes that. But any of the Bethesda fanboys who say that they're Fallout fans and they just eat up the slop like good little piggies, you know, they're not invested in the franchise. And, you know, I'm not invested in it anymore either. I enjoy the older stuff, kind of like with Star Wars. I enjoy the prequel trilogy, the original trilogy. I do not enjoy the new trash. I'll just continue enjoying good stuff, the old stuff. Let's move on to the next comment here. And again, it's the same thing. If Tim Kaine says the show feels like Fallout, then it feels like Fallout. No, that's not how that works. Tim Kaine is not the arbiter of Fallout. He does not own Fallout anymore. It doesn't matter if he made the original Fallout, and he's like one of the biggest voices of Fallout. Chris Avellone is a much better representative for the Fallout franchise than Tim Kaine at this point. So just another dumb comment. That means literally nothing, and I'm sure most people would agree. That means absolutely nothing at all. There's another one. I am a Fallout nerd, and I generally don't give a fuck about the lore. Whether it's modern or traditional Fallout, I have way more important things in my life than some TV show. But I get it. All the metrics right now point to shitting on anything and everything, so every content creator has to jump on the train so they can be super successful streamers. I just want to be entertained and watching people absolutely lose their shit about shit that doesn't matter at all is actually entertaining. So thanks for creating entertainment for me. Absolutely. Thanks for watching my entertainment. Please leave a like on the video if you enjoy what I'm doing. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to continue seeing more. And, I'm going to keep jumping on that train and shitting on stuff so I can be super successful. So thank y'all for watching. But this idea that entertainment doesn't matter is very foreign to me, because entertainment absolutely matters. Somebody like this saying, no, entertainment doesn't matter. Why do you care about this? I don't care about any of this stuff. Just watch it and enjoy it. No, that's a really narrow-minded way of thinking, because the big corporations that are dumping hundreds of millions to billions of dollars into all these different franchises, the ones who do rewrites, or they change themes, they change characters to push certain types of agendas or political ideologies. These big companies seem to think that entertainment matters a whole hell of a lot. And they do a lot of work to push different things within the entertainment, because they know for a fact that it does affect you and me and everybody who watches this stuff. It affects our culture, it affects our society, and anybody trying to say otherwise is just completely clueless and has no clue what the hell's happening in the world around them. There's no argument that can be made against that, because it's just factual. It has a direct effect on culture and society. Some things have less of an effect, some things have more of an effect, and some things have, an immediate effect. They're going to affect society, within a couple months. Some things, it might be like a couple decades, and then, they start having an effect on society. But our entertainment absolutely affects our mindsets. It affects the way that people think, the way that people perceive things. It affects what people buy. That's why these companies put ads and stuff into all their different pieces of entertainment. And they know what they're doing when they do that. They know what kinds of ads to put into different things. They know what kinds of audiences to go for. That's why they are so keen on collecting all this data about people, because they use that data to then affect the entertainment that they're creating, whether it's movies or games or whatever. And then they feed that out to people. And if standards in our entertainment just continue to decrease, sloppy writing, awful characters and dialogue, people watching that entertainment or consuming that entertainment are conditioned to just continually accept lower and lower standards. And I know there's a large chunk of people out there that are similar to me, and we just don't accept that. I don't accept lower standards. I don't care if what I'm going to say right now turns off anyone from this video. I could not care less. I am a Christian myself. My faith is the most important thing in my life. I try and follow God to the best of my ability. And, the negativity stuff, people always talk about, you can't be negative all the time, toxic negativity. No, I think there's actually toxic positivity in society right now. Everybody thinks that you have to be positive about literally everything. And I'm not being toxic by being negative about media or other things in life. I always criticize things or talk about things negatively happening around me in society and in life. And that's because, my Lord, my Creator, God, He has standards for humanity and for society and for all of us. He has standards for me. And I don't live up to those standards. Nothing else in society does either. So I'm very critical of myself because of that, because I'm not living up to those standards I need to live up to, because the rest of society isn't either. It's okay to have standards. We should all have standards. Whether it's, dating, you should have standards for somebody that you're with. I'm not going to use the dumb word partner. I think that's really a stupid word that has come into society. Again, have standards. No, you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend. You don't have a partner. But have standards for somebody that you're dating. Have standards in your job. Have standards for what your boss should be doing. Have standards for what you and your coworkers should be doing. Have standards for the entertainment that you're consuming, even like this video or any other videos I have out, because a lot of my videos are crap. I'm a newer YouTuber. I didn't know what I was doing for many months, and I would say I still don't know what I'm doing. But have standards, set standards for yourself and for other people, and hold people accountable to your standards, especially these massive corporations that are just trying to suck you dry of every single dollar that you have in your bank account. Hold those people accountable, have standards for them, make them actually earn your money and your time, because time is very valuable. Time is more valuable than money, I would say. Let's move on to the next comment. You lose all credibility when you recommend the Book of Eli. Well, as President Trump said back in 2016 during one of the debates, wrong. You guys should go watch the Book of Eli. It's a wonderful movie. It's got Denzel Washington, Gary Oldman, Mila Kunis, wonderful post-apocalyptic film, and there's actually a scene in that film where the camera is panning, and they have the movie poster for A Boy and His Dog on like hanging on the wall. So that's a cool little Easter egg in the movie. But go watch The Book of Eli, wonderful movie. Definitely recommend. Next comment: the new games and show are good. Just because you don't like them doesn't make them bad. Maybe you've just outgrown it. I don't think it's fair to call it bad when it's the #1 show and is breaking records. You can dislike it all you want, but to call it objectively bad is just not true. But hey, the show is objectively bad. Bethesda's newer games and their writing, they are objectively bad. That's not a subjective opinion. They are bad. Maybe you've outgrown it. No, I don't outgrow my standards. My standards, they generally stay the same. Of course, like people's opinions and things and their interests change over time. But I've been interested in Fallout since I was a teenager. I'm 33 now. I'm still interested in Fallout. I haven't outgrown Fallout. If I outgrew Fallout, I would not enjoy Fallout 3. I would not enjoy Fallout New Vegas. I would not enjoy Fallout 1 and 2. I wouldn't have any interest in those things. It's like the original Star Wars trilogy. I grew up with that in the 90s. I was born in 92. So my dad introduced me to the original Star Wars trilogy way back then in the 90s. And I loved it. I grew up with that. I had all the different action figures and different toys and stuff. And I went and saw the prequels with my father in theaters. And I haven't outgrown those things. I love those movies. If I ever do have children of my own, I'll be watching those trilogies of movies with them too. I'm not going to show them the Disney stuff because it's garbage. It has nothing to do with outgrowing it. Maybe Disney and Bethesda and Amazon and all these big companies, maybe their standards, I guess I've outgrown their standards because my standards have been here and their standards used to be about here too. And then their standards just fall and fall and fall. And you get the entertainment that you deserve. If you tolerate just standards that are total ass, then that's what you get. You're just going to get things that are total crap all the time. No, have standards in society, especially for your entertainment, because like I said, it does affect society. It directly affects culture and society and the way people think, the way people perceive things. So no, it has nothing to do with outgrowing it. It has to do with having standards. Again, that's kind of like the main theme of this video. Have standards. Because too many people don't these days. Too many people have no standards. They don't think about other people. They're very self-centered, but that's another video. Steamy take on the show, considering Tim Cain, the lead developer of the original game, absolutely loves it. Again, I don't understand this mindset of Tim Cain likes it. That means it's good. That makes no sense. Just stop it with that. If that's your only argument, is that Tim Cain likes it and says it's good, so it's good, then there's no hope. There's no hope for you, I guess. Edit, big surprise, you're a New Vegas fanatic. Yeah, I am. Because I'm a New Vegas fanatic, I'm going to do the rest of this video with my, NCR service rifle that I built out of Brownells, some of their retro parts, retro AR parts. So, you're a New Vegas fanatic. Yes, sir. Yes, I am. I'm glad it's your favorite, but as someone who has played all of them, as well as New Vegas, New Vegas is the only one I didn't like. So, like assholes, everyone's got their own opinion. The show looks... Oh, sorry, I can't read. Public school education. I went to a government indoctrination center to learn, so yeah, I wasn't doing too well when I was a child. And I'm sorry you're worried about a New Vegas 2. That was probably never going to happen anyway. Yeah, it probably was never going to happen, and that's fine, because New Vegas is fine on its own. It stands on its own two legs, unlike this crappy show that we're talking about here. Fallout show does not stand on its own. New Vegas does. New Vegas doesn't need a sequel to be good. This show could have a million sequels and it'll never be good. But, I'm worried about a New Vegas 2. I'm not worried about it. It's the fact that New Vegas, if they were to ever make a sequel, it can never happen now. They could go ahead and make New Vegas 2, but if it's canon to the show, then it's not New Vegas and it's dead on arrival. And obviously I won't give a damn about it because it's going to be crap. So it's not like I'm not worried about a New Vegas 2 or anything like that. I don't care about whatever they make now. It's just the fact that Fallout is completely dead now, and any hope or possibility of a New Vegas sequel happening is dead with it. Sad living in the past. Enjoy. Well, isn't there that old quote that those who forget the past are doomed to repeat it, that kind of stuff? It's good to look at the past. In the past, we used to have standards in a lot of things. And, that's the way that life goes. That's the way that history goes on Earth. We have ups, we have downs. We have ups, we have downs. And it's the same thing in societies. We have periods of people, like everything's flourishing. People are living in abundance. People have standards and people are creating wonderful things. And then you have periods where everything just goes into a rut. People's standards just are demolished. Nobody has any money or free time. Everybody is stressed and depressed. And so maybe right now I know that we're kind of getting into one of those ruts, or we have been in for one for a while. But it's not sad living in the past. You say enjoy in your comment. Enjoy the show. If you people are liking the show, then enjoy the show. But the show is crap. Stop getting all defensive, you Bethesda fanboys. If somebody says that the show is crap, they're just speaking the truth. And you should listen to them because obviously they're doing a little bit more critical thinking than you are. But it's not sad living in the past. And it's not even living in the past. It's just looking back to the past saying, wow, we used to have standards. What happened? Why can't we bring that back? Look at some of our older games, like the original Fallout games. Look at Knights of the Old Republic. The Mass Effect trilogy even, and that was even newer, like 2007 to 2012, I think, or 2011, around there. Those games were great. The original Halo trilogy, Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3, fantastic games. Halo 3 ODST. You look at like the standards of music. Music has gone downhill. Music is in the toilet now. But Marty O'Donnell with the original Halo soundtrack, absolute classic music there. Like, that man knows what he is doing. He is a good man. He is a true artist. He's very talented in what he does. But again, like, when looking to the past, we're just looking at people having standards and wondering what the hell happened. Why do so many people just tolerate garbage now and throw their standards out the window? It's because these companies are purposely, like I said, diluting things and trying to lower the standards every single year, lower the bar. You get people to tolerate a little bit less and a little bit less and a little bit less and a little bit less, and people will tolerate it. They'll tolerate those lower standards, and before you know it, your standards are down in the toilet. If they did it to where the standards just dropped like this, like a rock, people would actually notice it more, and people would push back on it. More people. There are plenty of people pushing back on it now, but not nearly enough. Unfortunately, we're probably a little outnumbered, but it doesn't matter if we're outnumbered if we're more intelligent, right? And let's see. Wow, do your research. Vault-Tec and Robco started the Great War by launching a single missile towards China. Not a theory, confirmed by multiple sources. No. No. It's never been the case that Vault-Tec is the one that started the Great War in the Fallout series and the lore. It's always been, I think it's been kind of fuzzy on whether China or the United States is the one that launched the first nuke, but it started between those two nuking each other over resources, over territorial disputes, those kinds of things. And then other countries that had nukes, they started launching them too. And before any of that even happened, there was like limited nuclear exchanges in the Middle East and potentially some places in Europe. I think I might be getting that wrong. But no, the lore has always been that the US and China nuked each other. Vault-Tec was never involved in nukes. Vault-Tec was involved in creating shelters, all around the US, and I don't know about lore around the world, but maybe other countries had the vaults too for Vault-Tec. I don't know. But no, they were not involved in launching nukes. These tourists are annoying. I think it's the last one I had on here. So, yeah, I just wanted to do a video response to some of those comments because it blows my mind the way some of these Bethesda fanboys and these show defenders think. There's no like logic behind their things, and some of these people are saying like, "Oh, if you don't like it, don't watch it." Again, it's about having standards. It's about holding these series that we've enjoyed for a long time to a higher standard, with the hopes that one day they would actually fall into the hands of people that give a shit, and they would actually steer it on the right course, you know, actually bring it back to its former glory, and just decanonize and ignore all of the trash that was created within that series, and actually bring it back to what it was before. Because, you know, Fallout's a very dark kind of game, you know, very dark and gritty game, but it actually has really good themes. You know, it has different adult themes to it, themes that actually matter, and themes that make you think, themes that you can actually like escape into, because that's what a lot of people go to their entertainment for, is an escape from reality. But you want something that's actually going to make you think too. You don't want just slop that's going to lower your standards in everything you do in life. But that's the last comment I had. Some of the comments I didn't have on here, I had a handful of comments talking about how I shouldn't be filming while I'm driving. So, you know, I apologize to those people that commented about how I shouldn't film when I'm driving because I'm distracted and I'm going to hurt somebody. I apologize for the fact that I'm not doing this video while I'm driving. I should be out filming right now while I'm driving while talking about those comments, because those people are dumb. But when I'm driving and filming, there's a mount for my phone that goes on the windshield and just looks at me, and it's off to the side. It's not obstructing my vision. I'm looking at the road. I'm completely aware of my surroundings. I actually know how to drive, which is the biggest thing. When I'm driving, my brain doesn't turn off, and it shouldn't, because you need to be aware of what is going on around you in order to drive. But I'm always thinking about different things. I'm like, I'll maybe be talking to myself about something. I'll be thinking about a project at work, thinking about the next video I want to make for YouTube. Or I'll be thinking about like my dog, or like some stuff, errands or something I need to get done this weekend when I'm off work. You know, I'm always thinking about different things while I'm driving. What's the difference between that and me having a phone recording and I'm just talking to myself about my thoughts on Fallout? There is no difference. So I'm going to continue doing videos while I'm driving, I'm filming, because it's literally, it doesn't affect anything. If those people are incapable of driving, then if they have a license at all and they drive, I would recommend that they turn in their license, forfeit that thing, so that you can protect your local communities. Make sure you don't run over any school children or anything like that, because obviously those people don't know how to drive. If those people specifically don't trust themselves driving, that's perfectly fine. Not everybody is as inept as them. I'm perfectly capable of driving and talking about random things going on in my head, because my brain is capable of doing two things at once. But that is my response video to some of those comments on that Fallout video, from your local New Vegas fanatic, I suppose. Gunfighter Ballads and Trail Songs, which season 2 of the show, by the way, in that first episode, did not earn the right to use Big Iron. That was awful. I do plan on doing a video on season 2. I know in that other video I said, I'm not going to even watch the show. Bethesda does not earn my time. And I stand by that. They have not earned my time. But my family knows that I've always been a huge new Fallout person. I was about to say New Vegas person, but they know I've always been like a huge fan of Fallout, of the Fallout games. And they wanted to watch the show with me. So I have been watching it with them. I think episode 6 comes out this week that I'm filming this video. So once all the episodes air, I do plan on doing a video going over just my thoughts on season 2 and how destructive it's been, because it's worse than I could have imagined, and it's worse than season 1 somehow. I don't know how they topped the trash that is season 1. They made like a trash mountain, and then they made an even bigger trash mountain. But I will do a video on that, if any of y'all are interested. Like I said, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see that and other future content. I do like prepping content, some homesteading stuff here, and I'm going to start doing more media content because people seem to enjoy that, and it's something I really enjoy and I could talk about on end for hours. So I'm going to be doing different kinds of media content about movies, books, games, different anime and stuff, but it's mostly going to be centered around like post-apocalyptic and dystopian kind of stuff. You know, think like Blade Runner 2049, the Fallout series, Book of Eli, that kind of stuff. So please do subscribe to the channel if you're interested in seeing any of that kind of stuff, and I will see you all in the next video.